And we're back with more incredible hoax coming at you from the man kitchen. I'm Chris.
I'm Mark.
Should we reference when we're shooting this? Or just pretend like we shot this any old day of the week?
Any old day.
All right. So we will pretend that we're not surrounded by food products on a certain day where you eat a lot of food. We'll pretend that's not happening because just off camera, there might be 7 bags of chips. But then again, there might not be.
There may be.
There might not. Okay, we're a little late to the party, but because we didn't get around to it and hadn't seen it, blah, blah, blah. The Hateful Eight.
The Hateful Eight.
Take it away. What is your review of the Hateful Eight? Quentin Tarantino's 8th film. He's very sufferential. He's very like, hey, this is my 8th movie. I don't know why he's so into that himself that way.
Well, it is interesting. He made a comment about 4 years ago that he'd do 10 and then probably stop. We'll see.
I remember when Kill Bill came out, it was like, hey, this is the 4th film or whatever it was, 5th film, whatever. I can't remember now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what does that matter if it's your 4th film? Because Kubrick never said, hey, this is my 7th film. It was just, I don't get that. He
made some comment that he wants to make him while he feels like he's like in his peak, and he doesn't want to keep making them so long that
past his prime,
repeats himself. So
maybe it's his way of like keeping tabs and stuff.
Yeah, I think he thinks about his legacy and he checks himself. So he's
overly conscious of it. Like, okay, so the movie itself, what's your review?
I give it 4 stars. It is it's interesting because the majority of the film is almost like it takes place in one setting in this kind of lodge out in the middle of nowhere. A blizzard hits, and you've got all these unsavory characters get together, and you could see the Hateful Eight could easily be turned into like a stage play and really be interesting and something like that. But it works on that level. And a lot of the characters are just really vividly drawn. I mean, that's what we expect from Tarantino. He's such a gifted writer. And I enjoyed, I'm such a Kurt Russell fan, I enjoyed his performance. And,
it was very good.
I mean, forget the look, which reminds us of The Thing and how, all the facial hair and all that. So it reminds us of that a bit. But, Kurt Russell he's just been kind of a guy who's kind of been, I think, unheralded at he's never kind of gotten his due that he's a really good actor, But I really enjoyed it. I think it reminds me a lot of Reservoir Dogs, in that as far as the way things kind of go back in time and back and forth, and you see how everything kind of fits together, and the puzzle is put together at the very end. And I really enjoyed it. I was with it every step of the way.
I liked the performances. I think I basically liked the story. Shot well, done well, all that kind of thing. I think if you have to ask me one answer, do I like it or not like it, I have to say I like it. But my reservations are too big to be ignored. I felt that at many times he was trying so hard to be shocking. He was trying too hard. It was like, and Quentin's always been the type that wants to shock the audience and get under their skin and twist the screws a little bit, but I felt like this was way more forced than any other movie he's ever done. It was like he was, hey, I'm using the N-word, and hey, here's a whole story about a guy's penis, and, or I guess I should say some spoilers here maybe, but anyway, I felt like he's going out of his way to be shocking, whereas in the past, he might have shocked you, but it come naturally from the story. I thought I could see him coercing things to be purposely shocking or abusive or whatever the case may be. He was going out of his way to use the N-word. He's going out of his way to put in the uncomfortable scenes and the violence. And there's a scene, spoiler, where a guy gets shot in the head and his whole head just disintegrates. And it was like, it was too much. It was too much. It didn't sit well with me. And I like violence. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't that. It wasn't the violence per se. It was. It just seemed overt to the point it was out of context. Because here you have this very natural, fluid movie that's has a realistic tone, and then the guy's head explodes like confetti. And does that make you see what I'm saying?
Well,
so
I hear you.
It was clunk. Like, I thought there was really clunky the way he tried to shock the audience. It felt like he was trying too hard. And if he just told the story more naturally, it really stuck with me. I couldn't overlook it. And I've really wrestled for a long time since I watched it to say whether I liked it or not. I think Walt Coggins won me over. Kurt Russell's performance won me over. Jennifer Jason Leigh's performance won me over. I think performances won me over. Sorry, we've got bad light in this kitchen. Anyway, I think I was won over by all the stuff that Quentin didn't do. I think all the Quentin parts didn't work, but all the performances and work of the other people did.
That's interesting.
And I've never said that before about a Quentin Tarantino film. So I'll let you have the last word.
Well, I'll say this: he's since he began his films in his career, he's gotten a lot of flack for being, having ultra violence and the use of, like you said, the N-word and things like that. You give him some grace here because there's a historical context of being a Western. We know, unfortunately, a lot of people talk like that or use that word very liberally, and no one thought anything about it. So you give him a little bit of a pass on that because of the historical context. Me personally, I would love to see that word go away and forever be buried and no one ever say it again, but that's just me personally. But the film itself worked maybe more so than any other film. Instead of like in Reservoir Dogs, everyone thinks you actually see one of the bad guys cut the cop's ear off. You never see it. And he got such flack for how violent it was and all that, the ear being cut off, but you never actually saw it. In this movie, and maybe at this point in his career, he's like, screw it. Even when I don't show him stuff, they still complain I'm too violent. So it's like this one, he might have just said, screw it. I'll show you the violence and whatever. But this is not a film like Kill Bill that had action sequences. So he might have done that in a way to kind of compensate for the fact that it's a very talky movie. And it is a
play.
Movie.
It's basically a play.
It is like a stage play, as I said earlier. But I enjoyed it. And I think it will hold up, too. It's a different kind of a Western. This is not like a...
Yeah. Other than Death Proof, his movies always hold up anyway. Death Proof would be the one exception to that.
Yeah, that one
So anyway, time will tell. I think, but just right now, I'm really curious. I'm always curious to see what the next one's going to be from him. But as of right now, I'm kind of like, okay, Quentin, could you get back to just the story? Because you're such a good storyteller. Stop worrying about political statements and shocking me just for the sake of shocking me and those kind of things. But just Kill Bill was just a great story. Pulp Fiction was a great story.
Oh yeah.
Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
Come on, get back inside the winning team here. Come on now. Come on, Quentin.
That's interesting because I thought it was just vintage Tarantino, so we had a little bit of a difference of opinion, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's what Ink Hoax is all about.
Ink Hoax.
Yeah.
I like that. All right with that. Ink Hoax.